On that rainy night when I was dumped by Lin Wan, the school's most beautiful iceberg belle, Bai Ning Bing picked me up and took me home. At 3 a.m., the bedroom door gave a soft creak and a bundle of softness pounced into my arms. With a milky, spoiled voice, she murmured, "Huggy." I froze on the spot. It turns out that the legendary, unreachable Snow Queen in private was a little girl who loved to act spoiled. Shen Kuo, do you think I, Lin Wan, am that easy to chase? When I liked a bag, you told me you had no money. Then, what right do you have to say you love me? Don't come bothering me anymore. Lin Wan's voice was like an icicle dipped in poison, stabbing into my heart over and over again. People were passing by all around. Those pointing and whispering gazes made me wish the ground would swallow me whole. Years of pursuit, years of being at her beck and call, only to be exchanged for a single sentence. Not enough sincerity. It turns out my love had a price tag. I don't know how I left. My mind was filled with that contemptuous face of Lin Wan's. It started to rain, and soon I was soaked to the bone. I walked aimlessly through the campus. Reaching a corner, I wasn't looking at the road because I was lost in thought, and I slammed hard into someone. "I'm sorry," I apologized subconsciously. Looking up, I saw I had bumped into a girl. She was holding a transparent umbrella, and beneath it was a cold, beautiful face. It was Bai Ning Bing, a figure on our school's pedestal, the belle of the computer science department, a top student, and the legendary high-cold school belle. She was a senior, 2 years above me, and usually just a legend on campus. At this moment, she stood before me, quietly looking at me. No surprise, no disgust. I was embarrassed to the extreme, soaked all over as if I had just been fished out of a river, looking utterly wretched. "Sorry, senior, I wasn't looking at the road." I prepared to bypass her and walk away. The moment I lifted my foot, I felt my pockets. They were empty. My dormitory keys. Just now, to take out my phone to check Lin Wan's message, I had casually tucked them into my coat pocket. That pocket was very shallow. I looked back suddenly at the path I had just walked. The rain was so heavy and the streetlights so dim. Where could I possibly find them? Even worse, my roommate had gone out with his girlfriend today to stay overnight off campus. He wouldn't be back at all. A sense of despair surged into my heart. Old wounds hadn't healed, and a new blow had arrived. I stood in the rain as if abandoned by the whole world. "Can't find your keys?" A cold, clear voice sounded. I looked up and saw Bai Ning Bing still standing there. Her transparent umbrella tilted slightly toward me, though it didn't really help much. I gave a bitter smile and shook my head. "Can't go back to the dorm?" she asked again. I nodded, my voice carrying the dampness of the rainwater. "Yeah, my roommate isn't there." I thought she would say, "That's unfortunate," and turn to leave. After all, we weren't close, and she had no reason to help me. However, she just looked at me silently for a few seconds and then said something that, to this day, I find inconceivable. "My house is nearby." Her tone had no ups or downs. "Follow me." I was stunned. I wondered if I was having hallucinations from the rain. Senior Bai Ning Bing was going to take me home? "Senior, this isn't appropriate, is it?" I said, stuttering. "I can just make do for a night at an internet cafe." "The internet cafe is very noisy," she said, her eyelids drooping slightly. "Then I'll go to a hotel." A waste of money. She seemed always able to block all my retreats with a single sentence. The rain grew heavier, and my whole body started to shiver from the cold. Bai Ning Bing glanced at me, her brow furrowing imperceptibly. She didn't speak again, turning directly to walk toward the gate. After 2 steps, she stopped and looked back at me. That gaze seemed to say, "Keep up." As if possessed, I moved my legs and followed behind an almost stranger, the legendary school belle senior, toward her home. Bai Ning Bing's home was in a high-end residential complex near the school. Her door had a code lock. With a beep, the door opened, and a faint, pleasant fragrance wafted toward me. I stood at the door, the water stains on my feet printing 2 awkward footprints on the floor. "Change your shoes." She took a pair of men's slippers from the shoe cabinet and placed them by my feet. They were new. I changed into them hurriedly and followed her inside. The house wasn't large but was very tidy, with a cold Nordic style, black, white, and gray tones, just like her personality. "The bathroom is over there. Go take a hot shower so you don't catch a cold," she pointed in a direction. "There are bath towels in the clothes cabinet. We'll talk after you finish." I felt like a marionette. I did whatever she said. My brain had completely stopped thinking. Only when the hot water poured over my head did I feel like I had come back to life. The bathroom had the same scent as her, a kind of plant-based body wash. I quickly showered, wrapped myself in a towel, and walked out hesitantly. On the living room sofa lay a neatly folded set of clothes, a large white t-shirt and a pair of gray sports shorts. "They are mine, never worn, make do for now." Bai Ning Bing's voice came from the kitchen. I walked over and saw her boiling water. "Senior, thank you so much. Put them on." She interrupted me, glanced at me, and quickly shifted her gaze away. My face heated up and I hurried back to the bathroom to change. The t-shirt was huge, hanging loosely on me, carrying a pleasant scent of laundry detergent. When I came out, she had already placed a cup of ginger tea on the coffee table. "Drink it." It was an imperative tone, but for some reason, I didn't find it repulsive at all. I held the cup. The warm sensation traveled from my palms to my heart, and together with the spicy ginger flavor, it dispelled the last of the chill in my body. "Senior, I can just sleep on the sofa tonight. I'll leave first thing tomorrow morning," I said softly, fearing to trouble her. She gave an and pointed to the sofa. "The quilt is in the cabinet. Get it yourself." After saying that, she turned and went back to her room, closing the door. The whole process didn't involve a single extra word. I was left alone in the living room. Lying on the soft sofa, everything felt so surreal. A few hours ago, I was heartbroken and desperate over Lin Wan. A few hours later, I was lying on the sofa in the home of the cold school belle, Senior Bai Ning Bing. The sofa was unexpectedly comfortable, but I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. One moment it was Lin Wan's contemptuous face, the next it was Senior Bai Ning Bing's cold profile. I thought back over and over to my efforts this past year. I felt like a donkey chasing a carrot, stupid and stubborn. I thought as long as I was good enough to her, she would eventually be moved. Now it seems the only one moved was myself. Just as I was drowsy and about to fall asleep, I suddenly heard a soft click. It was the sound of the bedroom door opening. I was instantly awake, my whole body freezing. Why was she coming out? Did she want water? Or did she feel it was inconvenient for me to sleep here and wanted to kick me out? I held my breath, not daring to move, even closing my eyes to pretend I was fast asleep. The footsteps were very light, slowly coming toward me. My heart began to accelerate uncontrollably. Thump, 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 like it was hitting my ribs. The footsteps stopped by the sofa. I could feel a gaze falling on me. Just as I was about to burst and prepare to wake up, a soft sensation suddenly pressed against my back. Then a pair of arms wrapped around my waist. My entire being felt like it had been struck by lightning, instantly petrified. Warm breath puffed against my neck, feeling itchy. What is the situation? Senior Bai Ning Bing hugged me? My mind went blank, completely unable to process the current information. That legendary high-cold belle, who was said to be so cold that not a blade of grass could grow within 10 miles, was now hugging me from behind like a cat. Her body was soft and warm. Through the thin t-shirt I could clearly feel her, and that faint, pleasant scent was now lingering even more clearly at my nose. "Huggy!" A muddled voice, thick with sleepiness, came from by my ear. It was soft and sweet, like acting spoiled. I doubted my own ears. Was this Bai Ning Bing's voice? Her usual speech was cold enough to drop ice shards, but this voice was clearly coming from behind me. I turned my head inch by inch, stiffly. Using my peripheral vision, I saw the face resting on my shoulder. It really was Bai Ning Bing. Her eyes were closed, her long eyelashes casting a small shadow in the dim light, and her lips were slightly pouted in a peaceful sleeping expression. Where was any trace of the cold brightness of the day? This was clearly a defenseless young girl. A thought flashed through my mind like lightning. Could she be sleepwalking? Other than that, I couldn't think of any logical explanation. As I was in a mental struggle, she seemed to feel the position was uncomfortable. She moved, tightening her arms even more. Her whole body was almost pressed against my back. I could feel her steady heartbeat through the fabric on my back, but my own heart was beating faster and faster, nearly jumping out of my throat. I had never had such intimate contact with any girl. During those years chasing Lin Wan, I hadn't even touched her hand. But now, I took a deep breath and told myself to be calm. Shen Chao, you are a man. You must remain unmoved by temptation. Senior is sleepwalking. She doesn't know anything. You can't have any bad thoughts. Yes, that's right. I tried my best to relax my stiff body, lying motionless and playing the part of a qualified body pillow. Time passed, minute by minute. The initial tension and awkwardness were slowly replaced by a wonderful feeling. Her body temperature, her breathing, the good smell on her. All of it made me feel very secure. My heart, stung by Lin Wan, seemed to be gently soothed by this sudden embrace. I never knew that a person's hug could have such great power. I don't know how long it took, but I actually fell asleep just like that. The next day, I woke up to the aroma of food. I snapped my eyes open, my first reaction being to look beside me. It was empty. Bai Ning Bing was gone. I touched my waist. It seemed the sensation of being wrapped by arms still remained. Everything last night wasn't a dream. I sat up and saw a slipper on the carpet by the sofa that didn't belong to me. It was Bai Ning Bing's. It seemed she really was sleepwalking last night. She came here to hug me, and then returned to her room on her own at some point, even dropping a shoe. I picked up that pink plush slipper and felt like laughing. I really couldn't tell that the cold senior's slippers would be such a cute style. Awake! At the kitchen door, Bai Ning Bing stood there, holding a plate. She had already changed into a tracksuit, her hair tied in a ponytail, looking fresh and capable. Her face still wore that expressionless look, as if nothing had happened last night. Good morning, Senior. I was a bit guilty, my eyes drifting, not daring to look at her. Come eat breakfast. She placed the plate on the dining table. It was fried eggs and toasted bread. She had also prepared a portion for herself and sat across from me, eating quietly. I peeked at her, trying to see any clue on her face, but there was nothing. She really didn't remember anything from last night. That was good. It saved the embarrassment. I took a bite of the toast. Quote, Senior, thank you for last night. I still felt I should apologize. She took a sip of milk and gave a faint in response. I'll wash the clothes in a bit and then head back. Has the dorm opened? She asked. I'll call my roommate and ask. I just remembered I hadn't contacted my roommate. I took out my phone and dialed. As a result, my roommate was wailing on the other end, saying his girlfriend had acute gastroenteritis and he had to stay with her at the hospital. He probably wouldn't be back today. I hung up, my expression dropping. Bai Ning Bing looked up at me. Can't go back? I nodded awkwardly. He might not be back until tonight. This meant I would have to stay here for at least another day. I felt a bit embarrassed. After all, a man and a woman alone. It felt inconvenient. Senior, how about She interrupted me again. Wash the dishes after you eat. Her tone was very natural, as if I weren't a stranger staying over, but a roommate who had lived here for a long time. I was stunned for a moment, then gave an "oh" and lowered my head to continue gnawing on the toast. That bit of unease in my heart was actually dispelled by her single sentence. After breakfast, I took the initiative to do the dishes. When I came out of the kitchen, Bai Ning Bing had already changed and was ready to go out. I'm going to the library. I won't be back at noon. There are groceries in the fridge. Cook for yourself. The door has a code lock. I'll send it to your phone. As she changed her shoes, she gave clear instructions. I stood nearby like a soldier, listening to orders. Understood, Senior. She nodded, opened the door, and walked out. The moment the door closed, the whole house was once again just me. Looking at this unfamiliar environment and smelling the scent she left in the air, I felt very strange. I, an ordinary college student, was picked up and taken home by the cold school bell because of a failed confession. Last night, I was hugged all night by her while she was sleepwalking. Now I have her home's code and can come and go freely. What is this? I shook my head and decided not to think so much. At least for now, I seem to have gained a home. My roommate's girlfriend's illness was quite serious. She didn't get better for several days. Thus, I settled into Bai Ning Bing's home quite comfortably. During the day, she went to the library or to class, and I stayed at home. At first, I felt a bit constrained, not knowing where to put my hands and feet. Later, I gradually discovered that although Bai Ning Bing spoke little, she didn't give off a sense of pressure. She seemed to treat me as air, completely indifferent to my presence, so I gradually relaxed. I began to take the initiative with housework. After she left in the morning, I would clean the house once, mopping the floor so it shone. Seeing she wouldn't be back at noon, I would make something simple for myself. In the evening, I'd time her return and have the meal ready in advance. My cooking was learned from my mother. Though not at a chef's level, making a few home-cooked dishes was no problem. The first day I finished cooking and waited for her return, I was quite anxious. Looking at the table of 3 dishes and a soup, she was stunned for several seconds. Her face still had no expression, but she glanced at me. "Senior, I saw there were groceries in the fridge, so I just made a little," I explained nervously. She didn't speak, sitting down silently, picking up her chopsticks and taking a bite. Then she took a second bite and a third. Although she didn't praise the food once from start to finish, that night she finished a whole bowl of rice completely clean. From then on, cooking became my exclusive task. She also seemed to accept this arrangement. We didn't talk much during dinner, usually eating in silence. But this silence wasn't awkward. Instead, it had a strange sense of warmth, as if we had lived this way for a long time. I discovered that Bai Ning Bing was actually nothing like the legend of being beyond the mortal world. She would casually drape her changed clothes over a chair instead of immediately putting them in the laundry basket. She liked a specific brand of yogurt, and several rows of it were always stocked in the fridge. She would unconsciously bite her lip when reading. These small details made me feel she was no longer that high and mighty senior belle, but a girl of flesh and blood who got tired and liked to be lazy. A somewhat cute girl. This evening she came back very late. I had reheated the food over and over. It was almost 10 p.m. when I heard the lock. She walked in, her complexion poor, looking exhausted to the extreme. "Senior, are you okay?" I went to meet her. "It's fine. There was a problem with the project. The meeting ran late." Her voice was a bit hoarse. "Eat quickly, I've kept it warm for you." She shook her head. "No appetite. I'll take a shower first." She entered the bathroom, and soon the sound of rushing water came. Looking at the untouched food on the table, I felt a bit bad. She must be exhausted so late. When she came out of the bathroom, she was wearing pajamas, her hair wrapped in a towel and still dripping. She walked to the sofa and sank into it, motionless. I saw she was still holding a thick professional textbook, but she just stared blankly at a page without turning it. I knew she was so tired she was spacing out. The living room was very quiet, with only the sound of water dripping from her hair onto the floor. Looking at her, I felt a strange softness in my heart. The usually powerful and omnipotent senior looked quite fragile at this moment. I hesitated but walked over. "Senior, if you don't blow dry your hair, you'll get a headache." She didn't seem to hear, maintaining that posture. I called her again, and only then did she slowly turn her head to look at me. Under the light, her eyes were bright but lacked focus, as if covered by a layer of mist. She looked at me for a long while, and then she spoke, with a trace of reliance she hadn't even noticed herself. "Ah, Chow, help me dry my hair." She called me Ah Kiao, intimate and natural. My heart skipped a beat at that moment. Okay, I agreed almost immediately. I fetched the hairdryer from the bathroom, walked behind the sofa, and reached out to unwrap the towel from her head. Her long, black, silky hair cascaded down like a waterfall, carrying damp mist and the fragrance of body wash. My hands were a bit shaky. This was my first time drying a girl's hair. I turned on the hairdryer to the gentlest setting. Warm wind blew out. With one hand holding the dryer and the other carefully reaching into her hair, I gently moved it. Her hair was so soft and smooth, like the finest silk. My fingertips inadvertently touched her scalp, and her body gave a slight shiver. I immediately became nervous. "Senior, is it too hot?" "No," she said, her eyes closed, her voice muffled. Reassured, my movements became even gentler. In the whole living room, only the humming of the dryer remained. I could smell the fragrance from her hair, mingling with the warm wind around me. The atmosphere was quiet and ambiguous. She relaxed completely, leaning her whole back against the sofa, her head tilted slightly back, resting right by my hand. I could feel her trust and reliance. This feeling was wonderful, giving me a sense of being needed. After blowing for about 10 minutes, her hair was finally dry, fluffy and soft, feeling especially good to the touch. I turned off the hairdryer, and the room went instantly quiet. "It's done, Senior," I said in a low voice. She didn't move immediately. After a while, she opened her eyes. Our gazes met by chance in the reflection of the black TV screen behind the sofa. In the screen, I stood behind her, my hand still resting in her hair. She sat before me, looking up at me slightly. Eyes meeting, I saw my reflection in her dark pupils. My heart began to accelerate again. I quickly withdrew my hand, scratching my head a bit unnaturally. Get some rest early, Senior," she gave an stood up from the sofa and walked toward the bedroom. At the door, she stopped, stole a glance at me, and said, "Ciao, thank you." Then she went into the room and closed the door. I stood there, touching my burning cheeks. A voice in my heart was saying, "Shenkiao, you seem a bit off. Your feelings for this cold senior seem to be no longer just gratitude and awe." That night, I dreamed. The dream was full of her soft hair and that soft, sweet voice calling, Kiao. After staying at Ning Bing's home for over a week, my unreliable roommate finally returned. I had to move back to the dorm. I stood at the door and said goodbye to her formally. She leaned on the sofa, holding a book, and hearing me, she lifted her eyelids to glance at me. Still that familiar, cold monosyllable. I felt a slight sense of loss in my heart. Well, I was an intruder who entered by accident. Now that the accident was over, our lives returning to their normal tracks was only natural. I opened the door. "Wait." Her voice came from behind me. My heart raced as I turned my head abruptly. "Senior, what is it?" She stood up from the sofa, walked to me, and pressed the key back into my hand. "Take it. Come over whenever you want to eat." She looked at me and spoke very seriously. "The code hasn't changed." My heart felt as if it had been gently bumped by something. What did she mean? Was she just being polite, or did she truly welcome me to come again? She didn't give me a chance to ask further, turning back to the living room to pick up her book, leaving me alone at the door, clutching that key which still held her body temperature, with a complex mood. Returning to the dorm, the familiar smell of instant noodles and stinky socks greeted me. My roommate was wearing headphones, playing games. Seeing me back, he took off his headphones and leaned in with a gossipy face. "Not bad, Shenkiao. I heard you got rejected by Lin Wan a while back." "But it's fine," he patted my shoulder. "Out with the old, in with the new. I heard you've been getting close with the computer science iceberg beauty by Ning Bing. It's all over the campus forums." My scalp felt numb. Are these people just bored? Don't talk nonsense. I just stayed at her place for a few days. The roommate had an "I understand" expression. "That's by Ning Bing. So many rich kids can't even get her to have a meal with them. For her to take you in, there must be something going on." I was too lazy to explain to him. In the following days, life seemed to return to peace. Every day I went to class, after class to the cafeteria. Eating the greasy cafeteria food, I would always think of the scenes of Bai Ning Bing and me eating quietly. Lying on the hard dorm bed at night, I would always think of the soft sofa at her house and that accidental, warm embrace. I restrained myself from thinking of her, but her shadow always popped up involuntarily. I sent her messages a few times, but every time I felt like I killed the conversation. Gradually, I didn't dare to disturb her easily. Perhaps those few days of cohabitation really were just a helpful gesture to her, and I was the one overthinking. The final exams ended, and summer vacation arrived. I bought a train ticket home. Before leaving, I hesitated for a long time, but still sent her a message. "Senior, I'm going home. Have a great vacation." After a long time, she replied with a single word. Looking at that the last bit of hope in my heart was extinguished. So be it. Back home, my mom made various delicious foods for me every day. But I always felt something was missing. I began to suffer from insomnia. As soon as I closed my eyes, it was Bai Ning Bing's cold face. The way she looked focused when helping me with my studies, the way she unconsciously bit her lip when reading, the way she spaced out on the sofa from exhaustion, and the way she softly said, "Help me dry my hair" by my ear. I realized I was really in deep. I liked Bai Ning Bing. This realization made me both panicked and excited. Wasn't this a toad lusting after swan meat? I told myself over and over to stop dreaming, but the small flame in my heart just wouldn't go out. After staying home for half a month, I felt like I was growing mold. Every day, besides eating and sleeping, I was staring at my phone, looking through the pitifully few chat records between Bai Ning Bing and me. Just as I was about to accept reality, my phone suddenly rang. The caller ID was an unfamiliar local number. I picked it up. "Hello?" The other end was silent. I could only hear faint breathing. "Hello? Who is this? If you don't speak, I'm hanging up." I was a bit impatient. "Ah, cow!" A cold voice, familiar to the point of being engraved in my bones, came through the receiver. I jumped up from my chair instantly. It was Bai Ning Bing. Why would she call me? "Senior, what's wrong?" "Did something happen?" I asked nervously. Why would she call me suddenly? Had she run into some trouble? "No." The other end fell silent again. I held the phone, my heart in my throat. Just as I thought she was going to hang up, she spoke again, her voice very low, carrying a trace of confusion and grievance I had never heard before. "Why haven't you come back to school for so long?" I was stunned. She seemed a bit impatient, but was trying to restrain it. "Why aren't you back yet?" I was even more confused, subconsciously glancing at the calendar. "Senior, school hasn't started yet. It's only mid-July." There was still a month and a half until school started in September. The other end of the receiver fell into a long silence once again. I could even imagine the way she was furrowing her brows at this moment. Feeling a bit at a loss, I asked cautiously, "Senior, is there something you need from me?" Another bout of silence followed, so long that I thought the signal had cut out. Then I heard her, in a voice so low it was almost inaudible, say one sentence. That sentence was like a clap of thunder, exploding in my brain. She said, "But I miss you." My brain went blank instantly. What did she say? She missed me? Bai Ning Bing missed me? I felt like my heart was about to jump out of my chest. Immediately afterward, using a tone that was almost a plea, carrying a trace of fragile courage that was hard to detect, she asked in a small voice, "Can't you come back sooner?" In that instant, what reason, what inferiority, what impossibility? All of it was thrown to the back of my mind. I practically roared out, I can! I'm coming back right now!" I jumped up on the spot, circling around the room while searching for my ID card and using my phone to search for the earliest train ticket back to school. Despite the dozen or so hours of travel, I didn't feel tired at all. Instead, I felt 100 times more energetic. After getting off the high-speed rail, I took a taxi directly back to the school. Standing at the entrance of Bai Ning Bing's residential complex, I finally started to feel nervous. Coming back so impulsively, how would she react? What if she just said it casually yesterday? Or what if she was drunk? Wouldn't I be extremely embarrassed? I took a deep breath, dragged my suitcase to her door, raised my hand, and then put it down. My heart was thumping wildly. Forget it, I'm already here. The blade hurts the same whether you stretch your neck out or pull it back. I gathered my courage and pressed the doorbell. After waiting a few seconds, there was no movement inside. She wasn't home? I pressed it again, still no response. My heart sank, and a wave of disappointment surged up. Had she gone out? I took out my phone to call her, then remembered I still had her home's door code. After hesitating repeatedly, I finally placed my finger on the keypad and entered that string of numbers I had long ago memorized by heart. With a beep, the door opened. I pushed the door open and poked my head in. The house was dead quiet. The living room curtains were drawn and the light was very dim. "Senior?" I called out softly. No one answered. I changed into slippers and dragged my suitcase inside. Then I saw a bundle curled up on the sofa. It was Bai Ning Bing. She was wearing pajamas, her whole body curled on the sofa with a thin blanket over her, seemingly asleep. On the coffee table was an empty yogurt box and an open book. It looked like she had been reading here and fell asleep. I lightened my steps and walked to the side of the sofa. She was sleeping deeply, her breathing even, her long eyelashes drooping and casting fan-like shadows on her face. Perhaps because the light was too dim, I felt her face looked a bit pale, and her lips lacked color. I couldn't help but reach out my hand, wanting to check her forehead. Just as my fingertips were about to touch her skin, her eyelashes suddenly fluttered, and she slowly opened her eyes. Our eyes met. Her gaze was still a bit dazed, as if she hadn't fully woken up. She looked at me for several seconds, seemingly confirming whether she was dreaming. "Ah, Kiao," she spoke, her voice light and raspy. It's me, I'm back." She didn't speak, she just stared at me fixedly. Then, without any warning, her eyes turned red bit by bit. I panicked instantly. "Senior, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell somewhere?" I knelt down and asked urgently. She still didn't speak. She just looked at me. The mist in her eyes grew heavier and heavier, finally condensing into a teardrop that slid down her cheek. I was completely dumbfounded. What was the situation? The high cold. Senior was crying, and right in front of me. I was at a loss, wanting to wipe her tears, but feeling it wasn't appropriate. "Senior, please don't cry. What exactly happened?" "Did someone bully you?" She shook her head, sniffed her nose, and then gently grabbed a corner of my clothes. Her strength was small, but she held on tight. "I thought you wouldn't come back," she spoke, her voice thick with a nasal tone, sounding as aggrieved as a child who couldn't find their way home. My heart felt as if it were being squeezed hard by a hand, both sour and painful. "How could that be?" I said quickly. "You called me, so I bought a ticket and came back immediately." "I thought you found me annoying," she said with her head down, her voice very small. "I called you, and you didn't pick up right away. I thought you didn't want to talk to me." Only then did I remember that when she made the first call, I thought it was a harassment call and hung up directly. No, I explained hurriedly. "I didn't know it was you. If I had known it was you, I definitely would have picked up in a split second." She looked up at me with red eyes. "Really?" I held up 3 fingers, nearly swearing to the heavens. Truer than real gold. Seeing my solemn and pledged manner, she finally let out a PFFT and laughed. Though there were still tear stains, her smile was like the sun after a rain, instantly lighting up the whole room and my heart. "Why are you so silly?" she said softly. "I'm willing to be silly for you," I blurted out. The moment I said it, I regretted it. It sounded too frivolous. A slight blush crept onto Bai Ning Bing's cheeks. She turned her head away and let go of the corner of my clothes. The atmosphere suddenly became a bit subtle. I cleared my throat to change the subject. "Senior, you haven't eaten yet, right? Is there anything in the fridge? I'll go cook." She gave a soft, I stood up, preparing to show off my skills in the kitchen, when she called out to me again. "Ah, Kiao." She sat on the sofa looking up at me with sparkling eyes. "Welcome home." 4 simple words, yet they made me feel that all the travel and all the anxiety of the trip had received the most perfect reward at this moment. I grinned, smiling like a 200-pound fool. "All right." That night, I made a big table of food. Bai Ning Bing's appetite was surprisingly good. She ate a bowl and a half of rice. After eating, the 2 of us sat side by side on the sofa, watching a boring romance movie. Neither of us spoke, but both of us knew that some things were already different. Halfway through the movie, the male lead was giving a soulful confession to the female lead. I felt my palms sweating. The time had come. I took a deep breath and turned to look at Bai Ning Bing. She also happened to turn to look at me at the same time. "Senior." "Ah." "Ciao." We both spoke at once, and then both stopped at once. "You go first," we said in unison again. I couldn't help but laugh. "Senior, you go first." She pursed her lips, appearing a bit nervous, an expression rarely seen on her face. "That phone call." She looked at me, her gaze a bit flickering. "I heard it." I interrupted her, not wanting her to feel embarrassed. I looked into her eyes and said every word with extreme seriousness. "Senior, actually, I missed you too." Her body shuddered slightly, and her pupils dilated for an instant. "From the first day I moved back to the dorm, I've been thinking of you. Thinking of the sofa in your home, thinking of you as a person. I used to think that in this life, I might never like someone this much again. After being rejected by Lin Wan, I felt like a total failure, something ridiculous. But after meeting you, I realized it wasn't that my love was cheap. It was that I gave it to the wrong person. Every day spent with you, I feel very happy and secure. Even if you don't say a single word and just sit there, I feel very much at peace. By Ning Bing. I called her full name for the first time. I think I've fallen in love with you. No, not think. I'm certain I love you. I like you very, very much. So, could you give me a chance to be your boyfriend? After saying all that in one breath, I felt like I was about to suffocate. I looked at her nervously, waiting for the final judgment. The living room was very quiet, with only the background sound of the movie leads kissing. Bai Ning Bing didn't speak for a long time. She just looked at me with surprise, being moved, and some complex emotions I couldn't understand. My heart sank bit by bit. Was I too impulsive? Her being good to me might really have just been her treating me as a junior she got along with, or a chef who could cook. Suddenly, Bai Ning Bing moved closer to me. Then she leaned over and lightly touched my lips. Like a feather, it was a touch and go. I was completely stunned. I raised my hand to touch my lips. The soft sensation of her was still lingering there. I opened my mouth but couldn't say a single word. Bai Ning Bing's face was already completely red, like a ripe apple. She lowered her head, her voice as thin as a mosquito's hum. Me too. She looked up, gathered her courage, and repeated it a bit louder. I said, I also like you. So, that, boyfriend, application, I approve it. My world instantly exploded with fireworks. Looking at her blushing face and sparkling eyes, I could no longer hold back and pulled her into my arms in one swoop, hugging her tightly. Senior, say it one more time. Not saying it, she said, burying her face in my chest, her voice muffled. Say it, say it, say it one more time! I was like a child begging for candy. Shen Kiao, you are so annoying, ugh. I'll annoy you then. I'll annoy you for a lifetime. I held her, feeling like I possessed the whole world. My girl, she would let me come home early because she missed me. My girl. She would shyly kiss me because of my confession and then say, I approve. How was this an iceberg? This was simply a hot spring. The new semester began. The relationship between Bai Ning Bing and me officially upgraded from live-in junior and landlady senior to boyfriend and girlfriend. How should I describe this feeling? It was awesome. Every morning, I didn't have to squeeze into the cafeteria to fight for buns anymore, because Bai Ning Bing would buy breakfast in advance and wait to eat with me. Although most of the time it was just sandwiches and milk, receiving it from her hands made it taste 100 times better than the meat buns in the cafeteria. We went to class together. Although our majors were different and the teaching buildings were far apart, we would always accompany each other to the bottom of the building first, before parting reluctantly. Naturally, I became her exclusive backpack-carrying lackey. Her bag was always filled with thick professional books, dead heavy. Seeing her carry it alone before, I didn't think much of it, but now I wished I could weld her backpack to mine so she could have empty hands and be at ease. Ah, cow, no need, I can do it myself. She would always refuse, a bit embarrassedly. That won't do, I said righteously. How can I let my girlfriend carry her own bag? This is a matter of principle. She couldn't win against me, so she let me be. But every time I took the bag, I could see that smile at the corner of her mouth that she couldn't suppress no matter how hard she tried. At noon, we would arrange to eat at one of the cafeterias. I would always get the dishes she liked in advance and then wait for her at the window with anticipation. The moment she appeared, the entire noisy cafeteria seemed to become a background prop. My eyes only had her. We sat face to face. She ate very elegantly, taking small bites. I would quietly exchange the green peppers I disliked for the meat in her bowl that one loved. She would glare at me, but never actually get angry. Naturally, gossip on campus was unavoidable. Isn't that Senior Bai Ning Bing? Who is that guy next to her? I think he's called Shen Kiao. Last semester, people said their relationship wasn't ordinary. No way! Senior Bai Ning Bing could take a liking to him? He looks totally ordinary. Regarding these discussions, I was a bit uncomfortable at first. After all, Bai Ning Bing was too dazzling, while I was just a student who couldn't be more ordinary. But Bai Ning Bing didn't care at all. Once, as we were walking through campus holding hands, we ran into several boys who knew her. Seeing our joined hands, their expressions were as if they'd seen a ghost. One of the braver ones spoke up sourly. "Senior, you're in a relationship. Why don't you introduce him?" I was a bit nervous then, and subconsciously wanted to let go of her hand. But instead, Bai Ning Bing gripped it even tighter. She looked at those boys, her tone still light, but the content was bossy and leaked authority. "My boyfriend, Shen Kiao. Please look after him more on campus in the future." The expressions on those boys' faces were as colorful as a paint palette. Standing beside her, that bit of inferiority and unease in my heart vanished instantly, replaced by a sense of pride in being moved. My girlfriend, in her own way, was announcing my identity to the world and protecting my self-esteem. From then on, I no longer cared about others' gazes. I openly held her hand as we crossed the crowded campus. I wanted everyone to know that this fairy on the pedestal was now my girlfriend. Our sweet daily routine naturally reached the ears of certain people. This day, Bai Ning Bing and I had just come out of the library and were preparing to go eat. At a corner, the person we least wanted to see appeared. It was Lin Wan. She stood right in the middle of the path, staring straight at our tightly joined hands. Her complexion was terrible, and her eyes were filled with jealousy and resentment, as if her favorite toy had been snatched by someone else. To be honest, seeing her again, there were no waves in my heart. I even felt it was a bit laughable. At the time, she discarded me like worn-out shoes, and now she's making this face for whom to see. I pulled Bai Ning Bing, wanting to bypass her. "Shen Chao!" But she opened her mouth and called me. Her voice was a bit shaky, even carrying a hint of a sob, looking like a different person from the high and mighty version in my memory. I stopped my steps, not because of her, but because I felt Bai Ning Bing's grip on my hand tighten. I glanced at Bai Ning Bing. Her face was expressionless, but her gaze had turned cold. I gave her hand a reassuring squeeze and then looked at Lin Wan, asking in a flat tone as if asking for directions, "Is something the matter?" Lin Wan's gaze hung on Bai Ning Bing like a knife, and then returned to me, her face full of accusation and grievance. "I didn't expect Shen Kiao. I really didn't expect you to find a new one so quickly." I almost laughed from anger. "Student Lin Wan, please mind your phrasing. You and I never even started. Furthermore, who I am with is my own business. It seems to have nothing to do with you, right?" My words were very blunt. Lin Wan's face turned white instantly. She probably didn't expect the Shen Qiao, who used to follow her every word, would speak to her in this tone. She bit her lip, tears swirling in her eyes, looking as if she were about to cry. "I just didn't expect. Senior, your taste is so special." She turned the spearhead toward Bai Ning Bing. "Senior, you have such good conditions. How could you take a liking to him?" These words were both stupid and poisonous. They both belittled me and tried to drive a wedge between Bai Ning Bing and me. I was so angry I was about to start cursing when Bai Ning Bing moved a step ahead of me. She stepped forward and blocked me behind her. Even though she was half a head shorter than me, at that moment her back looked as tall as a mountain. She looked at Lin Wan, her gaze as cold as a Siberian cold front. "My taste is indeed very special. The person I like is sincere and kind. He can cook and take care of people. He will rush back from thousands of kilometers away because of a single sentence of mine. His goodness cannot be bought with money." Bai Ning Bing paused, a mocking curve appearing at the corner of her mouth. "As for the good conditions you mentioned, I have my own hands and feet. What could I want that I couldn't afford myself? I don't need to rely on a man. Even if he only gives me a 10-yuan keychain, I feel it is more precious than any limited edition bag because he gave it. The value lies in the person giving it, not the object itself. Unlike some people whose eyes only see price tags and treat feelings as a transaction, they deserve to be looked down upon." The words were spoken fast and hard, every character like a slap hitting Lin Wan's face. Lin Wan's face went from white to red, then red to green, and finally, she was so angry her whole body was shaking, unable to say a complete sentence. Standing behind Bai Ning Bing, listening to her bossy declaration, I was simply overjoyed. This is my girlfriend, so dominant. Bai Ning Bing didn't bother to look at her anymore, only giving her a cold look up and down, as if looking at something dirty. "And who do you think you are to be qualified to judge my boyfriend?" After saying that, she directly pulled my hand. "Ah, Clau, let's go. Speaking one more word with this kind of person is a waste of time." I only cared about looking at this small but energy-packed figure in front of me. Only one thought was in my heart. I've found a treasure. I, Shen Qiao, have definitely found a treasure in this life. After leaving Lin Wan, my whole being was still in a state of extreme excitement. "Senior, you were too cool just now!" I followed behind her like a little fanboy, chattering non-stop, but discovered that Bai Ning Bing remained silent the whole time. She pulled my hand and walked very fast, and her strength was surprisingly large, making my wrist hurt a little. I belatedly realized she seemed to be angry. "Senior?" I called out tentatively. "What's wrong?" She ignored me, just pulling me as she turned into a small path with few people. This was a small woods behind the library, where people rarely came. I was just about to ask her what she was doing when she suddenly let go and pushed me onto the trunk of a large tree nearby. With a thud, my back hit the rough bark solidly. I was stunned. In the next second, Bai Ning Bing pressed in, one hand braced on the tree trunk by my ear, the other hand pinching my chin, forcing me to look up. A standard Kabadon wall pin, except I was the one being pinned. I was completely dumbfounded. What kind of development was this? Bai Ning Bing was very close to me. Close enough for me to see her long eyelashes and her pupils slightly contracting from anger, and her eyes burned a flame I had never seen before. It wasn't the usual coldness, nor was it the iciness toward Lin Wan just now. It was a scorching flame carrying strong possessiveness. "She wants you to change your mind." Bai Ning Bing spoke, her voice low and heavy, suppressing anger. "No, Senior, she was just—" I wanted to explain. "Is that how you used to chase her?" She interrupted me, the hand pinching my chin, tightening slightly. Following her every word, being at her beck and call? I was speechless because what she said was the truth. Seeing my silence, the flame in her eyes burned even brighter. "Shen Qiao, look at me!" Her voice carried a trace of an undetectable tremble. "Do you still have feelings for her?" "No!" I practically roared it out. "Absolutely not. Senior, I swear, I only feel disgust toward her now. The person I like is you. From beginning to end, inside and out, there is only you!" I was too anxious, fearing she would misunderstand. My reaction seemed to please her. The flame in her eyes weakened slightly, but that strong possessiveness didn't diminish at all. Quote, "Then remember this." She leaned even closer, her nose almost touching mine. "From now on, you are not allowed to have any contact with her. Don't say a single word. If she comes to find you again, you treat her like a fart and just let her go." I was amused by this crude yet cute metaphor. Okay. My laugh seemed to make her a bit dissatisfied. She furrowed her brows and her gaze became dangerous. She kissed me, completely different from the touch-and-go kiss from last time. This was a fierce, predatory kiss carrying a sense of punishment. It was as if she wanted to swallow me whole. Her teeth grazed my lips, hurting a little, but more so was a numbing sensation, like an electric shock. All the thoughts in my head snapped. I could only instinctively put my arms around her waist and respond to her. This kiss was full of her insecurity, her jealousy, her anger, and her undisguised, bossy possessiveness to the extreme. I knew for the first time that my seemingly cold and thin girlfriend actually contained such scorching and aggressive energy in her body. I don't know how long it took, so long that I thought I was about to suffocate before she finally let go of me. Both of us were breathing heavily, our chests heaving violently. Her lips were red and slightly swollen, her gaze dazed, looking watery and flaming, making my throat go dry. She rested her forehead against my chest. "Shen Qiao," she said in a raspy, vow-like tone, word by word, "You are mine." In that instant, I felt my heart soaking in warm honey. It was deadly sweet. What is a sense of security? This is it. Being stamped with an exclusive seal by the person you like in such a bossy way. This feeling was simply better than winning 5 million yuan. Before, when facing Lin Wan, There was actually a trace of the embarrassment of having been humiliated remaining in my heart. But now, that bit of embarrassment was completely dispelled by Ning Bing's fierce kiss and this bossy declaration. Looking at her, only one thought remained in my heart. This woman, I'm set on loving her. What high cold schoolbell. This is clearly my sweet little vinegar jar, jealous darling. I lowered my head and proactively kissed her lips. This time it was gentle and lingering. Senior, I am yours too, I whispered by her ear. She gave a soft, in my arms. During the National Day holiday, I figured it was time to take Ning Bing home to meet my parents. Our relationship was as stable as could be. She had long ago changed from senior to wife in my mouth, though most of the time, I still called her senior. When I proposed this idea to Ning Bing, I was actually quite anxious. My home is just an ordinary working-class family living in an old neighborhood in a second-tier city. My parents are honest, down-to-earth people who haven't traveled far in their lives. As for Ning Bing, though she never mentioned her family background, judging from her usual lifestyle and that innate aura of nobility, her family conditions definitely weren't bad. I was really afraid she wouldn't be used to my home or would look down on it. Wife, for National Day, do you want to go home with me? She was leaning on the sofa reading. Hearing me, she looked up. Sure. When are we leaving? What do I need to prepare? I was stunned for several seconds before reacting. She agreed just like that, so easily. Are you really going? My house is quite ordinary and a bit messy. I was still a bit lacking in confidence. She looked at me and suddenly laughed. Shin Chao, are you silly? I'm going to see your parents, not to inspect whether your house is decorated well. As long as you are there, it's the same everywhere. My heart was instantly filled to the brim by this sentence. I rushed over, hugged her, and gave her a hard kiss on the face. Wife, you are too good! In the following days, Ning Bing started seriously preparing to meet the parents. She looked up a lot of guides online. What gifts are good for meeting boyfriend's parents for the first time, how to leave a good impression on future in-laws, and so on. Seeing her holding a little notebook, recording notes with a serious face, I almost burst out laughing. Was this still the cold senior Ning Bing? She was clearly a nervous little daughter-in-law. The day before we left, she dragged me around the mall for the whole day. She bought a top-quality carton of cigarettes and 2 bottles of Muay Thai for my dad, and a set of skincare products and a cashmere scarf for my mom. The spending made my heart jump with fear. Wife? No need to buy such expensive things. The first visit must be thorough with etiquette, she said with a look that brooked no argument. Seeing her care so much about my parents' matters, I felt warm inside. On the day we arrived home, I opened the door. My parents were sitting upright on the sofa, looking as nervous as if they were going for a job interview. Seeing us enter, my mom snapped up, her face full of an enthusiastic smile. Oh, this must be Ning Bing! Come in! You must be exhausted from the trip. Hello, Uncle. Hello, Auntie. Ning Bing greeted politely and then handed over the gifts. It's my first time here, and I didn't know what you liked, so I just bought a few things. Oh, just coming is enough. Why bring things? You're too polite. My mom said this, but her eyes were narrowed into slits from smiling as she nimbly took the gifts. My dad also stood up, giving Ning Bing a simple, honest smile. The scene that followed was much more harmonious than I imagined. Ning Bing didn't have any of her usual cold air. She performed with grace and propriety throughout, being obedient and sensible. Whatever my mom asked, she answered with a gentle tone. My mom asked where her home was and what her parents did. She said she was a local and her parents were university professors. My mom's eyes lit up. Oh, a family of scholars! No wonder our Ning Bing has such a good aura. During dinner, my mom kept putting food into Ning Bing's bowl. Ning Bing, eat more. Look at you, you're too thin. Thank you, Auntie. That's enough, really. Ning Bing was a bit overwhelmed by my mom's enthusiasm. I quickly took a rib from my bowl and gave it to her. Wife, eat this. My mom's sweet and sour ribs are a specialty. Ning Bing's face flushed red instantly, and she lowered her head, not daring to look at my parents. My mom, however, was laughing so hard she couldn't close her mouth. Calling her wife already? You aren't married yet, but it'll be soon. The meal was full of joy. At night, I lay on the bed I had slept in since childhood, with Ning Bing lying beside me. She suddenly rolled over to face me. "Ah, Chow? Your parents seem to really like me." Her voice carried a trace of uncertainty. "It's not, seem. They super like you." I laughed. "My mom just told me to hurry up and marry you into the house, fearing you'd run away." In the dark, I couldn't see her expression, but I could feel her breathing hitch for a moment. "Then, do you want to?" "I do. I dream of it. I wish I could go get the certificate right now." She was amused by me and gave me a light punch. I grabbed her hand and placed it over my heart. "Bye, Ning Bing. Let's get married as soon as we graduate, okay?" She didn't answer immediately. After a while, she gave an almost inaudible in response. I was so happy I nearly jumped off the bed. I held her tightly in my arms, feeling that life had reached its peak. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. We both graduated from university. I joined an internet company and became a programmer. Ning Bing was recommended for admission to our school's postgraduate program, continuing her studies in the field of computer science. We rented an apartment near the school, not large, but very cozy, and officially started our daily lives together. On graduation day, I proposed to her in front of all the teachers and students of the school. I knelt on one knee, holding that ring I bought with my first internship salary, my hands shaking from nervousness. "Ning Bing, are you willing to marry me?" She looked at me, her eyes sparkling as if filled with starlight. Amidst the mountain-shattering and sea-roaring cheers of "Marry him" from the crowd, she didn't speak. She just reached out her hand, pulled me up from the ground, and proactively kissed me. That kiss was the most certain answer I had ever received in my life. We got our certificate. Ning Bing officially became my Mrs. Shen, the title wife. I could finally call it out openly and legitimately. Tonight, I was blow-drying her hair again. The dryer was humming. I looked at her in the mirror, leaning in my arms with a content face, and couldn't help but smile. "Wife, do you still remember when we first met?" She gave a lazy, That night it was raining hard. I was dumped by Lin Wan, looking wretched, and then I bumped into you. "I remember. You looked so pitiful then, like a little puppy abandoned by its owner." "Is that any way to describe your husband? Then why did you take me home back then?" This was a question I had always been curious about. She was silent for a while. "Because," she said a bit embarrassedly, "I recognized you." I was stunned. "You knew me?" During the freshman orientation, there was a junior who helped an old lady who had been tripped by a suitcase. He picked up the oranges that were scattered all over the ground, one by one, and even escorted the old lady across the road. I tried to recall. It seemed there was such an incident. That day, the way you picked up the oranges looked a bit silly, but very handsome. So that night, seeing you in the rain, I thought, this kind-hearted big boy, I can't let him get rained on. I turned off the hairdryer, hugged her tightly from behind, buried my face in her neck, and took a deep breath. It was full of her scent. "Wife, I love you so much," she laughed, turned around, and hugged me too. "I know.